Nice to meet you guys.
So he is the founder of Caprioli Management, and a very well-known Italian chef. He was appointed the Order of the Star of Italy, which I heard is similar to the Knighthoods. Very impressive. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Johnny, and we're going to start. So let's put our hands together.
Thanks, guys, and thanks, Gianni, for coming here today. My name's Johnny. I'm the founder of Steak King. We're doing these monthly events to try and bring the F&B community together, to try and bring leaders of industry to share their knowledge, experiences, ups and downs with people also in the industry or who may want to get into the industry. So it's all about sharing knowledge, a little bit of networking, and hopefully a nice free breakfast as well. So next month we've got Nathan Green, and the following month from that we've got Girish Janawali, who formed Ovolo Hotel. So it is growing some momentum. As we move on, we will change locations, so we're open to doing it in different places as well. So without further ado, we're going to start. So just some really simple questions, as I said, for Gianni, and hopefully he's going to share his knowledge and experience with you guys. So Gianni, going right to the beginning, when you were a little boy, where did it all start?
Yes, proceed.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm still a little boy. I don't know, maybe I don't know if I need to use or everybody can hear my voice. I think it's okay. I feel strange with these things. It started everything like in Italy, in South Italy. I'm from South Italy, even if I don't look like. Actually, when I was kids, I was bullied because I was red hair, blue eyes, and South Italy, where everyone is a little bit shorter. And my family, we are all tall. It's not a milky guy. I have 3 brothers, 3 sisters. We are 7. 3 they are ginger and 3 they are dark. I grew up with a family always connect to the food, as we own, when I was kids, my father owned different land. Then even if he was a mechanic and work on the school, he was accounting for the school, plus he was a mechanic, his second job, he was everything. But then in the morning he was a farmer, and afternoon, every Saturday, Sunday, we have the farmer. And then we start to realize the products. We were more the wealthy sides just because we don't need to buy anything. We have tomato during the summer, we have the olives during the olive oil produce and all that stuff. Then the love for the ingredients, it was there from the beginning. For this, still for me, is the biggest love. And it was normal to follow the process of ingredients and how to use it, how to cook it, and how good they are, even in different location of the farm where they were growing. That is where it started.
Which part of Italy?
South Italy, Basilicata is the less populated area in Italy. Then we have a little bit more space.
Okay. And then cooking, how did you get into that field? Who taught you?
When I was 11, I was having 3 brothers, 3 sisters. My brothers, I have one brother is 14 years older, the other is 11 years older, the other is 7 years older, and they start to move to different and to work during the summer and as a chef, as a maître d'. Then my brothers opened a rotisserie with he was a chef. And then he opened his own shop at 20 years old, 21 years old. It's in a corner where cook the food, and a city is called Rimini, where is very famous for tourism, where people go party night and all that stuff. And you have this shop where we used to cook 600, 800 chicken a day, plus lasagna, everything, where people go there to buy the food, to take it to the beach and everything. Then I started to work there when I was 11. In 1986, I was 12. I'm born in 1974, even if I look younger. And there I start like during the summer. Now it should be illegal to work at 12 years old, preparing. You know, now you see the chicken, when you buy chicken, they are all perfectly clean. And 86, they still have some feather and everything. And I remember I have the torch to turn out the feather before, put a garlic inside, a piece of lemon and rosemary, salt, tied up to put in the rotisserie, plus help to other jobs and all that stuff daily. Plus be careful, like when people were shopping, they're not stealing from the things. Then that was my first job officially, where I get like a salary. It was not much, but honestly, I had always some small job. I remember when I was 9 or 10, I go always to pick up with my father the meat, the leftover meat from the butcher, the bones and everything, because we have like in the farm we have a guard dog. We have 6-7 dogs at that time. The dog they eat only raw meat, like a piece of bones, or they kill their own things. Then I start to work sometime. I go there voluntarily to the butcher to scrap meat, and I remember he put on the side, like wherever the red meat I was cleaning, he paid me 500 lira for each kilo of very clean meat I used to do. And I remember the fact sometimes, don't take me wrong, sometimes women, they're more evil. Like I was kids, then the guy always he pay me, if he was 1 kilo 90 grams, he paid me 500 lira. One time the wife was there and he measured the things, and I noticed he put the finger under the scale to pay me less. I was so mad. Then I stole a chicken.
So that was your career part-time. But what was your first real job? Or did you go to college? How did you get into the industry?
I went to school. I was quite good at the school, but I never accepted the age gap between me and my brothers. They were older. I see they have independence. And for me, it was always, when I was, my family, my father, because all my brothers, my sister, they start studying, they go out away from South Italy, they move mostly in the area of Rimini, Emilia Romagna. My father sold the land and everything, and he moved his prior job was for the school. He asked to be transferred there. And at 14, like I was working summer and I was going then. 14 is when you start to grow. You're not accepting to transfer because you don't know if you will match with other school. Then I say, I don't want to move. I want to stay in South Italy. My father said, okay, you have a place to stay, but I'm not going to pay anything. Then for the first years in the college, I signed on 2 schools. Accounting school, Ragioneria is called in Italy, and culinary school. I used to go in the beginning because they were one in my resident city, the accounting school, and the culinary school, it was the other things. I go 3 days, 3 days a week in one school, and 2 days, 3 days for an entire semester. I was like choose the day I want to go to school, and at that time probably people still not checking the computer, you are registered into school. And I want to really decide. I want to open my shop, like I want to be a chef, I want to because my brother was a chef, or I want to know more accounting knowledge and everything. Like I have attention disorder. I cannot be too long in the same place and all that stuff. Then I argue one time with the culinary teacher, and I noticed I was going to work and everything. I say, fuck, I give up school and I just start to go work. And then after I noticed in South I was gaining much less of North, then I transferred myself also to North. After 6-7 years, I went to take the diploma as a private things, but I never, I never taken the physical paper because I was supposed to go back to collect and everything. But then I started working. To 17, I never went back to school. The things, I never match and my age. When I was 17, always I look much older. Like when I was 16, my first kind of love, she was 27. I always tell I was 19. She was married.
So you worked in some restaurants in Italy, but you came to Hong Kong. What brought you here? What was the movement?
My career was very... I opened at 19 after I opened a restaurant with my brothers. When I moved to Rimini, I went to work summer job. Like in Italy, it's very normal to work 6 months on the sea, 6 months on the mountain, or different things. And when I was 17, I learned, like I was working for hotel, everything. I was gaining money, but not a high quality. Then I went to work for 2 months for free, and a 5-star hotel where I and then they hire me. They ask me, you can stay here to work with us, and everything. Calculating, I was gaining 2 million lira and normal restaurant, everything. And I went to work for the 5-star hotel for almost half to learn to be better and everything. Then I went to work many times during holiday and everything. I worked with other chefs. I went to do events for free, and I worked there. At 19 years old, years before my father passed away, at 19 I opened a restaurant with my brothers. It was Don Camillo. It was in the Republic of San Marino. It's an enclave, independent country in Italy.
Was it successful?
I was successful, but was stressful. At 19, I was going to work every day at 9 o'clock in the morning. I finish at 1 o'clock at night, maybe few hours in afternoon to try, but it was successful. But in the same things, I say, if I stop now, my brother's on 75, I was only 25. And then I realized maybe better I do something. I don't want to, and I went to America, not speaking English. I went to work in America. I went to work in LA for a company because my friends went to work there and everything. I went there with the tourist visa, overstay, and I worked for a company. Actually, it was a big company. Was a very rich Jewish, an Italian movie producer, and a real estate company. Combined together, they were opening a shop around. Then I worked in LA, opened a shop in Santa Clarita, California. They were sending me maybe my attitude to easy fix, to not have a problem. I moved to Philadelphia for 6 months. They opened a place in City Line Avenue. There were 17 black people working in the kitchen, one from Puerto Rico, one from San Salvador, one Italian son of famous like mob family, and me. Like I learned my English in the beginning, still like now, but it was like with a very strong man accent. Then the company sold that place. As a real estate, I went to Washington, D.C., Bethesda, for the same company, back to California. The movie producer passed away, then the connection with the company was not the same. I moved back to Italy.
Okay.
Then I work in different places, very successful. Again, I remember 1997, my salary as 23 years old chef, with the attitude to speak English or to make things more, with also the attitude for the American business. Restaurant is not just wherever. Italians sometimes they take too easy. Like I put a little bit more of action, a little bit more the freshness, more. I used to get 7,500,000 lira at that time in 97 at 23 years old as a salary. Then I start to work another place. 98, I was overstayed, and I cannot go back to America. A little bit of problem. I went to work for Season UK as a sous chef, and the new opening of Canary Wharf was the first hotel opened by where Four Seasons was the owner of the building. Then after that I went also to Japan a few months, and I went back to United States because I want to open my own restaurant, everything.
Okay, and then how did you get to Hong Kong?
And then after I realized America was not the same things, it was getting changed and everything, I meet Carlo Caracciolo, who was an editor of, in America when I was working for a company, I was executive chef of the same company, was being sold and rebought it and everything. Then I went there to revamp the company, and I was working with the other company because I want to open my restaurant. Then Saturday, Sunday, as my time off, I go to my friends to open a restaurant. It's still nowadays successful in same location. That make you the difference of Hong Kong. From 2001 open, and nowadays still in the same location. I met this guy. He was the brother-in-law of Giovanni Agnelli. Giovanni Agnelli was the richest man in Italy. In Italy, they consider him the last king of Italy when he died. He told me, my brother-in-law really needs somebody to work for him, to travel and everything. You will be interesting. I said, no, I don't think private chef is my things. Then I get phone call from Gianfranco Vissani, who was a chef in Italy, very famous with TV show. I used to work when I was 17, 18, time to time. He always called me Lucifer as a nickname. In Italy, sometimes people as one of my nickname when I was younger was Lucifer or the Red Head. And I get a phone call and they say, no, we pay your ticket just to fly over to meet Mr. Agnelli. I flew, they pay. I went to Italy, I meet Mr. Agnelli in person. I was not expecting that. I was waiting in a sofa. I was thinking maybe I will meet before somebody for the, I don't know. He came out with, he was close to 80, with the shirts open, the belly a little bit out, with cane, walking. He looked at me and said, oh, you must be Cuochino. Cuochino means young chef. He said, follow me, let's have a talk. And he sit down in the sofa and he told me, yeah, sit down. And he looked at me and said, but if you stand up, I look at you better. Then he's one of the richest men in the world at that time, hiding the tax and everything. But then I stand up, we talk about different things, everything not about food. Woman, boat, soccer, everything. Then he asked me to go back the next morning at 7:30 to meet in his office. He was in the same building. And I went there and he asked me, next week come to Torino. I was in Rome, the interview was in Rome, then you hire. My plan was to go there, but to come back and to not take the job. Then I took the job. And during that job was work 8 months a year with 4 months off. But 8 months a year means 8 months with no day off. Working when you need, with the travel, you don't know. You have 2 months designated free, and 2 months with 1 week here, 1 week there, and everything. Then the 2 months not designated off, I work in Japan as a consultant. Actually, through Japan I was working. And then I passed through Hong Kong, where it was my friends was working for, at that time, Gran Hyatt Grissini, Vittorio Luccariello, because we know each other from things. And after a little bit, he called me. They say, this company want to open a restaurant. They have no idea and everything. And Mr. Agnelli was just passed away, and I worked for his family, but it was not the same things. Then I was planning to leave. Then I came during one of my trip in Japan. I stopped here. I talk and I help to design the restaurant, what I was thinking. And I remember that time they want to call the restaurant Ripiano or Ciccia. I say, for sure, if you call Ciccia, I will not come. And then I helped 2 things, and it was one of the most successful. I worked for this company after 7 years. It was one of the most successful restaurants probably in history. And in Asia, Western food, Italian food for sure, probably never had a restaurant match that. After 7 years, the owner, we used to have 21% net profit. I don't think many restaurants have that in any time. Even after I opened, I never had that.
It was actually, an IFC, right?
An IFC. Big successful place. I used to have lots of stuff. Everybody were telling me, like, I have the owner, the other chef, they were coming. No, the pizza, Chinese doesn't eat the pizza that big. You make small, or you make smaller is better. The portion too big. I say, I sign a contract. You don't want me, you pay 6 months, and I go. Otherwise, I am the one decide. Then, I don't know, I was like, I let at that time to sign that. I said, if you don't want my things, or I do what I want, or I leave. Then they let me do, and then it was very successful, because sometimes, no, Chinese, you need to adapt the flavor to Chinese. I say, I'm not adapting. Selling here underwear. We do food. And then we get to a strong identity. After 7 years, they want to go to the stock market, and they want to change the food cost from the line was 27 to 24, 23. They want to have the things. Then I say, it's not for me. And I left. And actually, I was supposed to go. I did 1 year. I worked between Singapore and New York.
So you left. You got your permanent residency, I guess,
Yes,
by that time.
that
So
time,
you
just 7
decided
years.
to start your own
And
business.
I started my own business. So in the age during where I took that choice, I had a big traffic accident. I was in wheelchair for 45 days. They told me 3 months, but after 45 days I stopped. And actually, I was using the crutches even after 2 weeks, even if I told me they should not. And now I pay the consequences. Sometimes my shoulder, because I was having this one broken, few parts.
So tell us about it, because I remember it. In fact, I think I was your very first customer.
And on the second venture, yes.
Was that your first restaurant?
Yes, that was in Hong Kong. I opened. I was looking for a location. I want to open my own. I sold a few things and all that stuff. I have a certain amount of cash. I was looking for investor, and I had different nationality. People want to invest. People want to say. People already want to tell me what to do and everything. Then I struggle. I put much more money from myself. I scrap a little bit all my bank account. I sold even one of my motorbike. And I opened with good friends. We were investors. I took over. Actually, at that time, I was looking for many places. Everybody wanted to give me the place, but as soon as they thought I was the investor, the main investor. I need a personal guarantee. I want the list of your investors. We want, instead the 3 months deposit, can you give 6 months deposit? Somebody 12 things. I say, you go, get fuck out of everyone. And I told, and I opened a place. My friends was having a place where he was losing money with chocolate production and everything. Then we swapped some shares. He will become my partner, and he's still one of my best friends and a great person is Roger Chan. I took over his place and I opened Jando in the Fenwick Pier, where people used to, people tell me, are you crazy? Nobody will come here. Fenwick Pier, nobody will come here. Is very odd, the location, everything. And honestly, I have to be honest. And that location in the beginning, when it was Jando, we reached 34% profit. 34% profit. But I have to sign a contract in the beginning where it was only 2 years rent. And then every year I was renewing only 1 year, because in 2015 the place was terminated the rent between the government and the association was running the location. Then they don't know when the government will take it back. Then it was hard to invest because you have only 2 years plus 1 year plus 1 year plus 1 year, and you have inside the contract always. In 3 months, they can give you the notice to terminate.
But it was a great success.
It was a great success.
And it was a local market?
Local market,
the
yes.
locals came?
Local, probably I was more lucky because the failure, after I left the company, I used to work in AFC, it was not that far. They were changing many things, then the quality was so bad, then people was looking for that kind of setup from before. They were moving, I used to do in a place at the beginning, 3.8, we reached one time 4 million, and a location F&B Pier, where then in 2015, Swire, he asked me to move the name, also as the CEO, everybody, the location where I moved Jando. And actually, it was my first goal location where they asked me 6 months deposit and guarantee, then I didn't take it. And then they took, like, the rent was quite okay and everything. Then I moved the name of Jando there, as I was expecting very soon to close Fenwick Pier. And we make Fenwick Pier as a già trattoria.
So you moved to Star Street?
Star Street, yes.
And Jando moved?
Jando moved, and then where it was Fenwick Pier, I did the già trattoria. Then I raised up a little bit with no pizza in Star Street, and I make more trattoria style in Fenwick. And then I opened also a shop underneath, where in the beginning the shop was a corner of the restaurant, where I want to display every single product I use in the restaurant. There people can buy, but when we were busy, it was become a big distraction, where people in the middle of Saturday and everything, always they want to buy some products. Originally, because everywhere Saturday is the slow day, I used to do the Saturday was the market, people can come to it and they buy some products. But then it would become popular, then I moved the shop underneath.
Okay, yeah, I remember you had that little room set up, didn't you? It was a really cool spot.
And the first customer was, I was still not open, actually, it was 11 September 2012. The chairs, they were delivered just the day before. We were then at the first dinner we did, it was a convention, seafood center and convention, and we did the first dinner ever of cloudy baked clams,
South
Australia seafood.
And we had the premiere.
Yes, we had the premiere. Then it was, and the first night they were all chefs and industry people to come to see the place, and everybody was telling me, but nobody will come at this location. Nobody will come at this location.
So, tell us a little bit about Caprioli management today. So I remember that, but it's certainly progressed a lot. What's it all about now?
The Caprioli management was in the beginning. I saw it was a company I set up as when I moved to Hong Kong, and I was continuing helping. I was doing TV show. And my time off in the beginning for free, I was doing a little bit consultancy. I opened Caprioli Management as a company to do consultancy, because sometimes when you do personally, it's always difficult to ask to get paid back. You know, you go to help, to do and everything, and then you say, I need to get paid for, what do we agree? As a person, it's very difficult to get the money back. Then you set up a company, you send the invoice through the company. It's much more official. That the Caprioli Management, honestly, it born even before the restaurant. I used to do consultants in Japan. I was doing the television show, and I was having very different setup for my salary. Where I used to work in IFC, my salary was very low. But I received 0.2% of the sales of 10% service charge every 3 months. If I do food costs, labor costs, every expenses, then tell you every 3 months I was having much more of my salary. My salary in Hong Kong was probably the lowest chef salary in Hong Kong. The bonus was different things, but there, because the taxation, they were Caprioli Management also was to pay, to not get involved in the same things, was to pay the tax for whatever I do outside of my full-time jobs.
Okay, and today you've got restaurants, You have retail,
and actually the biggest business is importation distribution.
So you have wholesale.
Nobody know, but is that my biggest at the moment my biggest turnover.
And you're supplying hotels, restaurants, supermarkets.
Supermarkets, everyone. At the moment, we in the beginning always try to be away from restaurant, as it's difficult to go there to chase for the money when and sometimes also because they see when they know is a chef behind and everything, they think maybe they help the competition, but actually they get much more stability as a products and everything, because I am the first one to use, I am the first one to try, I know all the things. Honestly, when every company closes 6 days, Chinese New Year's, Christmas, we always maximum we not deliver 2 days. When it's even 3 days of holiday, we always guarantee the delivery in the middle and everything and all that stuff, because we know what they are, chef difficulty, restaurant difficulty and all that stuff.
So you said right at the beginning that for you it was always about the ingredients, and now you just mentioned that you've got a company that imports ingredients. It's funny that in Hong Kong, Italian ingredients is so popular that the local people and the expats here they're really into it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think local people love Italian produce?
Because they have a much more identity in certain case, and honestly, I can tell you, you make a tomato pasta with hippodronic tomato, you take tomato pasta with tomato that were cultivated from the soil in Italy. The next day, you really remember the difference. It's something about the good things nursing you, good ingredients nursing you. It's the same things with wine, it's the same things, the ingredients. And Italy is the region, I think, there are no other, not because I'm Italian, but I realized that when I travel. Italy is 1,600 kilometers long, from the top to the end, from Sicily. We have climate change very much. We have around 400 different winds. We are in the middle of a very good sea, where people have ocean. We have a sea where higher salty sea. Then there are parts like why prosciutto di Parma. You go to Parma, is a 67 kilometer away from the La Spezia Sea, from the Tyrrhenian. Sometimes you smell the sea because the wind, the things. We have much more vegetal and everything. Then, and the culture of Italian, people don't know, but we conquer almost as Italy all the Europe and Africa and everything, and they take back the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful food and everything to grow in their homeland. After we've been conquered from every other, like look at me, I am red hair, blue eyes, in South Italy, and in South Italy there are lots of castle from the Viking, Sweden and everything. Then we have that complexity, and not many other countries had the opportunity to have, for another reason. You know, sample, peach. In Italy is called pesca. Peach, originally they say, originally is from Asia, is like one kind of plant, so from Japan. And they call peach. I study, one of my most things I study food, the reason of the food and everything. Just to let you know, peach in Italian is called pesca. Pesca means fishing. And the reason is because one guy fishing a garupa, and the stomach they find that is seeds. And they seeds, and they have the fruit. And when the people say, what fruit is this? And they say, it's the fruit of pesca, of fishing. Then the name in Italy is still pesca. In Japan is momo, other place me peach, but That is like how the things. People say goose liver is Egyptian, is French, everything. If it's any French, maybe will get upset, but it was a weapon of Roman Empire. Julio Cesare. If you go to, I don't know if anyone visit Rome. Is where is the Campidoglio? The Campidoglio is now is the city hall, but around Campidoglio used to where before Rome it was a republic before it become imperial things, and they changed the two consul. They decide with the Senato every 6 months, and to protect the things. Because these two consuls, they were supposed to stay there for 6 months with no moving to take the decision. They were having all goose around, because I don't know if you guys know goose. As I was a farmer as a kids, I know they are very aggressive. If they pinch you, and they are very noisy. If you even poison them, it take up to 7 hours to die. Because they have the stomach and everything, then, and they have a very big alien. Then Julio Cesare, he was a retired general before becoming emperor. Was the first absolutely king of Rome. They call him back because Roma was losing many times battle and war against barbarian in the south of France and north of Italy. Then Julio Cesare say, okay, he put where they put the camp. He put 1 miles military is almost 2 kilometers. The goose all around, nailed or hanging, and they feeding. Then they don't have to fly away. They cut a little bit the feather and they put that. And then when the barbarian attack during the night, they have enough time to get ready to win the battle. And then after they win the battle, always they leave behind the goose to the family of the people to feeding them, because mostly of the men they were died. They left after the battle, or they became a slave. They take away as a slave and everything. Then they find out when the goose they were stay there for so long and everything. They had this liver, and the Roman they were not in Italy. We don't eat goose now a little bit. The only region we eat goose in Italy is Veneto, where they were barbarian attack through Austria. Otherwise, we don't eat. Even we were having the farm with the eggs, and we keep as a guard.
Guard goose, I love it. If you look back 5 years ago, knowing what you do, what you know now, with your businesses, would you do anything differently?
I will never trust that much the landlord. I learned much more that for sure. They never take granted. If it's not writed, don't trust it. Especially when they're not writed, means it's not true.
I think we all know that. That's for
yeah,
sure.
but sometimes we still go and harmony. He's a good guy. Maybe he really trusts me. He called me because he liked me and everything. It just.
So, your businesses. It's been successful. It's obviously, like everyone else, it's had its ups and downs. But where you are today, what would you suggest is attributed to hard work, or is a bit of it attributed to luck? Have you been lucky, or have you worked your ass off, or a bit of both?
Probably both. Honestly, sometimes just the persistency. Sometimes everybody had the day where if you just stop, you will have lose everything. Just sometimes the persistence. Like sometimes the solution is just the next day, sometimes it's just the next week, sometimes it's just the next month. It's just
keep going.
The strain of keep going. It's been tough. Like sometimes you think your best number 2, it will help you, and sometimes when you give all the responsibility to the number 2 or something for. He failed. Maybe it was the best, absolutely number 2, but he can never be the number 1.
So let's talk about the Hong Kong restaurant scene today, and let's compare it to say 4 years ago, and where do we see it in the next 6 months? So today, how do you see it?
I was just saying, now it's just like I'm trying to do the right move all the time, but sometimes it's just to look at the window and keep going what you do what you do at the best, but at the same time is no real future. You know, everybody says September will be, let's see, because honestly I had call every day from landlord and do I say, I have this solution, we have this place and everything. It's okay, but they suggest in September, they know the future before the rent of what they want to give, like, but it's no security, you know, it's no, like I told you, like one landlord, like even during the COVID, I say, okay, but let's put, if there's any restriction, everything, just turn over rent. No, we cannot do that. Then you really is, you make your own future to be just careful, but at the same time you have to go, if you not go with God and like your feelings, sometimes also you will regret. Sometimes it's not medicine of your own security, like you need to take your responsibility.
Okay, well, thanks for that. I'm going to open it up to the crowd. I'm sure that some people have got some questions for Gianni. So, anybody? Who's first?
Well, I'm Steve from Rasta. Thanks for inviting me, and thank you for hosting this event. I think it's a really good idea. Be happy to take part in the future. I can't believe that you cook for Gianni Agnelli. Anyone doesn't know him, I really suggest that you read him up. He was the last bon vivant and proper king of Italy informally. I have a question for you. How do you cook his spaghetti carbonara? What is the best?
Well, honestly, if probably you know, Gianni Agnelli sometimes try to be away from what people do daily and everything. When his lover was in town, it's spaghetti carbonara because her lover wants spaghetti carbonara. Otherwise, it was no spaghetti carbonara on normally in the menu and everything. Gianni Agnelli was like so repetitive, so attached to the location because there were things they eat only in Rome, they eat things only in San Moritz. I was the travel chef for him. I had the opportunity to cook for Henry Kissinger. I traveled like in Paris with him, and then one time I stayed in Paris. He had his apartment. You can see the office of at that time it was Chirac. You can see Chirac office from there. Then one time I was there. I cook an afternoon. It was not cooking, but I make a madeleine and all these kind of things. The torta paradiso for Donna Marella. It was the Mrs. Thatcher, the wife of Chirac. That was scary. Like you see three women older, and they were like talking about. And he was the president of UNICEF at that time, talking in the same room. I traveled the plane with and the private jet with Gianni Agnelli, Henry Kissinger. At that time, they took a Falcon. It was one of the Falcon, a little smaller than the toilet was the curtain. And Gianni Agnelli, Henry Kissinger was there, and the door of the toilet was there. I held my pee for 5 hours from Paris to New York. Like I was thinking, if they sleep, if I flush the water, it's all noisy. I just keep my pee for 5 hours.
Anyone else? We've got another 5 minutes, yeah.
Quickly, you have the chance at the moment, you are working on different segments, like you have retail shop, you have wholesale, you have your own restaurant. What strategy, which channel are you targeting to develop the most? Where will be your development in the coming years? Are you developing three together? Are you targeting one?
Do I say I have no outside investor? My salary, I have a salary. My salary at the end of years go back. I opened a restaurant in Italy. In March this year I opened a restaurant in Italy. It's quite big. It's called C'era una volta. Was Upon of Time. The name is in Rim. Is a big My brother is the chef. My sister is the one. It was even. My mom passed away last year. So my sister was taking care of my mom and all that stuff. Then was kind. My brothers come from the second divorce. It was kind of choice of invest in a restaurant to secure. I am the six. We have a seven. I am the number six. Then I opened that a restaurant and it's going okay, improving. Then at the moment we moving. We have opportunity. We have like we discussing for two opportunity 2025. We talking about a few things in 2024 where almost we know what we will do in 2025. We don't know what we're gonna do in 2024. Maybe we will go try to grow wherever it happen. We do maybe two pop-up shop for this red retail this year. It's very difficult. We say at the moment I am not ready to have outside investors. And at the same times, you don't know, like the say, like a few years ago, I received, they asked me to develop in Macau just in the beginning of COVID and everything. But then when you realize I do much more for passion. If I have to do a company just for money, and even sometimes maybe the only way I do this is because I have no wife, no kids. Otherwise, you will go back home and you get. Scroll for working too much, scroll to have lose some money for the different things and all that stuff. I have to be honest, it's like you try to do what you really nursing you. Like when you go back home, when you feel satisfied of what you do. Like honestly, lately I have some amazing stuff. I'm trying to make them grow. I see some people I was not sure when joined the company they grow a lot. There are other it's just you go through the moment that you try to understand, because honestly it's not really a plan. When you plan too much is when you get really even it harder and things doesn't work. Like I have a place next door here. We rent it for events and everything. We start to do the events, and then other things happening and all that stuff. We cannot use the space and everything become a storage. And that place was already designed the things and all that stuff. We are the booking for events and all that stuff. Sometimes when you over planning is like. When I go to trip, I rent the car. I even not book a single hotel.
I think the take home there is be flexible. Don't overplan and pivot when you need to. One last question. Anyone? Yeah.
You operate a fine dining Italian restaurant. Just try to understand I feel see your customer mix changed. Because is it more still local expat, or is more mainland Chinese customers into the fine dining?
We have we have a very big mix. Honestly, as I've been always very poor on marketing. I hire only once outside the company for marketing, because I saw when they start talking and everything, and sometimes I say, please, can you go out? It happened to me before, like when then we really base for Jando as a restaurant really on regular clientele. We have really amounts of regular clientele. There are people weekly, people come twice a week. We have people come once a month. We have regular, they come for 2 trips a year in Hong Kong. For 2 trips a year they come to our restaurant. I notice we have more mainland business or family or some, but they always been referral from word of mouth. And what I notice, lots of people move out of Hong Kong, and then many people they move their family away from Hong Kong, and maybe they can still come into Hong Kong to a few weeks every month or something. But I see the clientele. In the last months, I had normally. I don't take that much reservation as much as my manager or something, but people text me, can you help me to book or something? In the last months, I received so many messages. I am in Milano right now. Where I should go to eat tonight? I am in Bologna. What do you recommend? I am in Positano. I say, I'm no Lonely Planet. But I love few places, but I receive much more message to make understand, or even on many of my database, they were outside of Hong Kong. That make the feeling of, then it's not my fault. Like, of course you try always to improve and work on what you do, because there are some problem. But then they say if there are less people during the summer, then probably because there are less people. It's not just my mistake, because sometimes people, honestly, I work with Park and Shop, they push away all the management because they had 20 to 30% less income of the previous years. And then I say, if they fire all the people, because they have less, but like the years before, restaurants they were closed, people cannot leave, they not ask like this question to themselves. I don't know if it's true, then is the only reason, but they say because they were so unhappy of the performance of late 2022, 2023, they were pushed to go.
All right, we'll leave it there because I know most of you have got to get to work. I'd like to say thank you for Gianni. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
Some gems of wisdom to take home there, and I'm saving them.
Yeah, but sometimes the way I say, sometimes it's okay to do things for free, guys. It's no, like I work for free. I done many things for free, and I still see that things even I did 30 years ago, they're still coming back. Of course, you try to do for the not people to take advance, because in Hong Kong, if you start to tell you want to do something for free, you have the people with box of wine next to your door of restaurant, they want to free corkage or everything, but sometimes it's okay to help the community. And honestly, Hong Kong is one of the most beautiful community. At certain parts, we are, Hong Kong is feel like Italy, so many individuals, everybody care about themselves and grow. But sometimes I think is we have a beautiful community on F&B, and I think everybody can take advantage of each other sometime, because in the end we are all in the same boat.
Yeah, I agree. So thanks again for doing this for free.
Thank you.